What's going on, everybody? It's your boy SK. We inside the THINKblot. It's the first episode with my friend and my man, Dwayne Morgan. He's a wonderful person, wonderful poet, and he's actually recently released a book called Her Favorite Shoes. I'm telling you, it's a great read, a lot of great poetry. Personally biased about one piece in particular, but we'll talk about that later.
All right.
Now, Dwayne, question.
Mm-hmm.
What really makes your heart beat in terms of poetry?
I think it's a matter of being able to find a story that just connects with a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's a matter of finding that human piece of the story that even if you've never experienced something, you still see yourself in that story, and it's that thing that connects people. You know what I mean? It's so for me, it's really about whatever I'm writing. It's really about how can I connect with people, whether they've had this experience or they haven't had this experience, but it's really just tapping into that universal thing that kind of just unifies us as people.
All right. Now, I know you've been in the game for 15 years. So, started back in '94.
Mm-hmm.
What made you say, this is something I want to do?
Well, I mean, it took a while before I realized that. When I first started out, it was just something that was, it was cool to do, and people liked it. But then I started to realize that the things that I was writing, people had a real connection to a lot of these things. And, I started getting emails from people about, what certain poems meant to them and how it made them think and things that it brought up. And I started to realize that what I was doing was bigger than what I originally thought. And once you start to realize that it's not just about you, but there's an actual bigger meaning to what it is that you're doing, once I clued into that and I accepted that, that's when I started to take it more seriously, and it became, my passion, and it's been, all that I've ever done, ever since.
All right. Now, you've done a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Your first show was back in '94 as well, I believe.
Yep.
Who helped you to actually take that step? Because I'm telling you, that's a big step to take,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially at the age that you were in '94, that's a big step. Who told you, or who helped you and guided you along to that?
It's kind of weird because nobody did, really. It was, I was still in high school.
Yeah.
I did the show at my high school. I got friends, when you're in high school, you have friends from different schools. So I got all my friends that had talent, and I was just like, hey, I'm just going to do this show at my school. And they all were, on board, and they're like, all right, cool,
Okay.
we'll do it. And, I guess I just had good organizational skills, and I had, good, relationships with people. And I just decided to do it and learn as I went, kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was something that the first show went extremely well. And from there, I just kept on, building off of that first show and just putting on shows. And it was just one of those things where nobody really
pushed
me or whatever. It was just like the idea was there. And I just said, all right, let's do it.
Has anybody tried to, throughout your career, limit you? Tried to say, you know what? I don't think you should do this.
I can't even say that they were trying to limit me. I think a lot of times, people are like, well, it's impossible to do this as a living. You can't just be a poet. When are you going to get a real job? All these kinds of things, because people don't have a concept of you being able to do this one thing and living a life off of it. So, I can't really say that they were trying to limit me. I think a lot of people were limited in their thinking in terms of what one can do and what one can achieve. And I mean, people are always amazed by what it is that I've managed to do and achieve, with poetry over the course of my career. But I can't really say, I think it would be unfair to say that they tried to limit me. I think, it came out of a genuine place. They were trying to be caring. They were trying to look out for me. They didn't want me to be delusional and be like, oh, I'm going to do this thing, and then see my heart broken and my world collapse and that sort of thing. So I think it came from a really good place. But, a lot of people just don't know the fire that I have inside of me and the motivation that I have inside of me. And if I say I'm going to do something, just consider it done. Because once I say it's going to be done, it might as well be finished.
That's good, man. Now, when you had, after your first show, you've done many shows after that. One of your biggest successes is the International Toronto Poetry Slam.
Mm-hmm.
Also, When Brothers Speak and When Sisters Speak, other great shows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know tonight you're going to do The Last Poet Standing.
Mm-hmm.
Great concept, all right? What's your excitement for that show? Like, this is a brand new event for you.
Well, I mean, it's always exciting when you do something brand new. I mean, this is my first brand new show in about 3 years. It's been about 3 years since I last created a specific show.
Okay.
And this one is exciting because it's just so different from the other things that I've done. For those people who don't know, the show's happening in a boxing ring. There's 16 poets that have to go head to head, against each other. There's $500 up for grabs for the winner.
Right.
Cardinal Official, Maestro, Melanie Durant are all going to be sitting at ringside judging, these poets. So it's going to be something that, Toronto's never really seen or experienced before. So anytime you can give birth to something that didn't exist before and people are excited to see what this thing is, there's always, an excitement for me. Like, I don't even know, I'm sleep deprived right now and I'm just going on adrenaline, but it's just one of those things where I'm just so excited to just give this to the city and to give this to people that, I just want the time to fly by so it can be showtime.
Right, never sleep, always grinding, always hustle. You can't accomplish anything if you take the limits, if you put limits on your stuff, I should say.
Very true.
Actually. Now, I'm always thinking, marketing is one of the things I love to do, but when I heard The Last Poet Standing, instantly I thought reality TV. Would this be something you consider doing with this event?
Well, I've been in talks with some people in terms of doing a poetry slam reality show.
Okay.
Whether it be traditional format or this kind of format, we don't know. We still have to revisit those talks and see, what happens with that. But it's definitely something that is in my mind, and I have spoken to some people in the TV industry about
Nice.
it. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but there's always a possibility that something might come from it.
We need better shows on TV.
So
Can't have people yelling and screaming, ranting and raving, and pulling out hair and stuff all the time. We need some culture, we need some education, and we need some art on television. Hook my man up.
All right, make it happen. Make it happen.
When it comes to, in her shoes, her favorite shoes, what inspired this book?
This one was really, it has a lot of relationship stuff in it,
Right.
especially the first half of the book. And, I was just at a point in my life where, relationships were just very important. And I was just watching, things with my grandparents, my parents, my own relationships, becoming a father and all these different things. And I just realized that, everybody thinks that, politics and these social issues are the biggest issues of the day, but I think that, there's nobody exists without relationships with other people, whatever those relationships are. So I wanted to have a book that really just kind of started looking at, some of the complexities of the relationships we find ourselves in.
What's one of the toughest things you find to maintain a relationship? Because I know a lot of people out there nowadays, they don't have that bond they used to have, whether it be with family, friends, or even just spouses and partners. What do you find is one of the biggest, downfalls in a relationship today?
Well, I think ego management is big, and that also ties in with needs. You know what I mean? And sometimes we feel that our own needs are more important than the other person's needs, kind of thing, and we just think that we're more important, or we need this before we do that, and it just becomes this thing where it's like a to-do list or a checklist where it's like, well, if they do this, I do this. And I believe that in order for something to truly work in any kind of relationship, it has to be based on giving. You have to just unconditional, just be willing to give, with the hope that the other person is going to return. But it shouldn't be conditional. The minute you put conditions onto things, then you start going on a downward spiral.
That's true. That's very true. Going through your book, my favorite poem, again, I'm biased, is The Girl Next Door, 3 Knocks.
Okay.
A while back, I asked you to help me out with this piece, and you came together and you blended The Girl Next Door, your 3 Knocks. It's a beautiful piece. But as I'm reading through the book and just kind of going on with the situations that happen in the news, Trayvon Martin, politician out in Alberta saying that, he has the upper hand because he's Caucasian. So it's going through some of your pieces, and two pieces that stood out to me was I wish all my friends were white girls, and fear of fatherhood. Now, in a community that's kind of lacking, right, father figures, and kind of fighting against each other, just skin color, race, and all that, what is your push and your take on actually helping to change that?
Well, I mean, all these things are big things, and what often happens is that, you know, people look at these big issues and they say, well, I can't change these big issues, so then they end up doing nothing.
Right.
And one has to realize that in order to change any big issue, it starts with small actions. So my small actions is making sure that I'm in my daughter's life, making sure that people see me being a role model to her, being a father to her. And it's conducting myself in such a way where I'm not, you know, a stereotype, where I don't feel like I have to live up to, you know, any of these negative images that might be out there in terms of what people think a black man is, or, you know, the limitations that we're supposed to have, you know, on ourselves. I don't play ball, I can't rap, you know, I write books, you know what I mean? That's what I do. And and it's important that I go out there and show people that, yeah, this is also something that's black, this is also something that we do, you know, we write, we're articulate, you know, we're imaginative, we're creative, we're intellectual, we're all of these things that a lot of times people don't think that we are, or don't associate with, you know, people who look like me. So for me, it's just a matter of leading by example, and that's my small piece. And if that small piece inspires another person to do a small piece, you begin chipping away at that big thing, and eventually that big thing becomes a small thing.
That's a good thing. You said that you're not a rapper.
I'm so not.
But wouldn't you say that poetry is the essence of rapping?
Well, I think rappers can be poets. I don't necessarily think that poets are rappers.
Touche, touche. But with your last poetry album, I find it hard for myself to kind of not confuse the two. As that beat drops, I hear, you know, the 3/4, the whatever timing, and I just want to start rhyming on top of that. How do you maintain, or how do you create your music?
Well, my music it's a very organic process with the musicians that I work with, because, you know, they follow me. It's not a matter of me following the beat. So I say, here's the mood of the piece, this is what the piece is about, this is how I'm going to say it, and you guys figure out what's going to work with what I'm doing. So, you know, they don't play a beat and then I try to fit my rhymes to the beat as you would do in hip-hop. I come first with the lyrics, and then they figure out what they have to do
so
in order to make it work. Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing it wrong. Well, I've decided that I'm really going to pick up my guitar and kind of work pieces that way.
Okay.
But when you say now, your daughter's a big part of your life, wife's a big part of your life. With your daughter, when she came into your life, how has she inspired you?
Well, I think what happens is, you know, you have all these ideas, you know, for your life and how your life is going to go. And you recognize once you have a child how selfish many of your ideas were. And it's natural that everyone is selfish, because when you have no dependents, you're supposed to be thinking about yourself. Who else are you supposed to be thinking about? Having a daughter, then you now realize, well, it's not about me anymore. Now it's about somebody else. So it's now, what can I do with my life to create an example, to provide, you know, to just be there for her. So that, I mean, the biggest change now is that everything that I do is for me, but for someone else. It's for a bigger purpose. It's not just for, you know, what I want. It's not just so I can go buy the latest kicks or whatever, because I got to pay for daycare, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's not about, you know, me and fashion and all that kind of stuff. It's about, like, just real things. And you know, you become selfless. You have to be, you know, extremely giving, compassionate, patient. And I think those are all things that have definitely, you know, helped me along the way. So, I mean, she's been a great asset and big part of my learning.
Nice. Have you ever thought about quitting?
Yeah, you know, you think about quitting, you know, pretty often, because it's like, you know, a lot of times you